Well, hello, Lovey, and welcome to the third week of January 2025. And I know I'm not alone in saying, wow, really, 2025? Like, this is how we're going to start? So, today I wanted to lean in a little bit with, our truth of our bodies, our soul authority. I wanted to lean in with some personal reflections on where I am in my life and the things that are happening. And I wanted to lean in with you. I wanted to lean in with you to offer you, to extend love, to extend peace, to give you something to hold on to if you might be feeling like you're falling, like the rug got pulled out from underneath you, like you don't know what your next right step is, like you're like, what the fucking fuck is going on? I want to give you a semblance of, okay, you're held. I was having this conversation this morning with one of our family's close friends. And this woman I've known my entire life pretty much, since I was a young girl. And we were just talking about how God provides love to us in ways that can be really, really amazing when we take a step back. And what I mean by this is, here we are, we're watching 2025, we're watching the fires in LA. We have friends, we have family, maybe you have relatives, maybe you're on social media, maybe you're just watching the news and you're like, what? Maybe you're like paralyzed into like, what is really truly happening here and how do I help? What do I do? Or maybe you are living in this situation and you're pondering, yeah, what do I do? I don't have any semblance of what a life I built anymore. I'm living out of a space that's not mine. I don't have any belongings. I have to get new clothes from strangers, or, maybe your finances are not there and you need to rely on other people. I don't know where you are, but I want to offer you this, that God does provide. And sometimes it doesn't look how we think it needs to look. And I want to give you some examples of that. So as I was saying, I was talking to our friend, my dear friend, who was one of those people for me in my childhood who provided a kind of love that I wasn't noticing or receiving in my life. And this woman held space for me. She provided unconditional, no strings attached kind of love where it was fun and it was silly and it was just perfect, because I can reflect back and I can have these memories. I can picture the whole scenes of when I was feeling not good, not wanting to be in life. And she provided the space to show me I was needed, I was loved, I was held. And that fast forward to today, fast forward here where I am, this year has started out. We have a brand new baby in our family. My niece gave birth on January 1st, which is also my grandson's birthday, which is so much fun. And then my mom ended up in the hospital a couple of days later with, nothing that was really life-threatening, but very serious. And so my siblings and I, we did the thing. We showed up. My brother and actually my daughter took my mom to the hospital, went to the ER, and it's January, winter, and the hospitals are packed. They're just packed. People are sick, and so here they are. They're spending the day. Finally, they admitted my mom because it turned out that she had a little bit more going on than originally thought. And the series of events that have unfolded since then are kind of like a mind fuck for me. It's just like, it's like you just can't, it's like a movie. It's like a Lifetime movie that you've watched and you're like, this can't be real. So the long story short is she was discharged before she was ready to be going home. I knew it. The nursing staff knew it. My siblings knew it. And I happened to be with her on that Monday when it was happening. And I did everything in my power. I'm calling on people. I'm asking for the case manager. I'm speaking the truth. I'm like, look, this can't happen. Here's why. I gave all the details. And well, they did. She was released. And within I want to say it wasn't even like a full 8 hours. The worst thing happened. My mom fell and got a brain bleed because she had been put on blood thinners. And so here we are with now she's home, and we didn't know, because I'm not a medical professional. I don't have this type of training. There was no learning curves of, what we were stepping into. But thankfully, we had met with a nursing agency, a really wonderful woman, Jennifer, who had come out to the house to meet us. And it just happened that I knew her husband. I went to school with her. So that was really beautiful. And we had this great conversation, and we share what happened, how she snuck out of bed, blah, 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 because she wasn't really in her right sense, and fell and hit her head. And she was like, oh, you guys, your mom's on blood thinners. She needs to get a CAT scan. This is not okay. So anyways, lo and behold, yes, I go in, see my mom, and there's this huge bruise on the back of her head that I hadn't seen. And now we are rushing back to the emergency room. Again, January, and the place is packed. It's just packed. They admit her because, of course, she has a brain bleed. So she's in ICU. And as I'm standing in ICU watching my mom not being able to communicate, watching these fires, and I'm like, God, all these people are losing everything. What can we do? What can I do as I stand here and I'm praying for my mom, and I'm praying for my family, my siblings, my dad? Because we all know this might not end up well. We all know that this could take her. So we start to pray, and we're praying, and I hit my knees, and I'm like, what will you have me do? What will you have me do? How am I supposed to show up for the people who I serve? How am I supposed to show up for my own family? And what will you just have me do? And God said, I just want you to be. I want you to be. Be present. Be uncomfortable. Be sad. Whatever it is, just be in the moment. And I thought, that seems so little. That seems so little when there's so much at stake. But I said, I'll listen, because I believe that God's word has the power to heal, has the power to lead me to the next right thing. I know that this is going to be the thing, as uncomfortable as it is, I'm going to be. So that meant turning off the news for a little bit. It meant getting off of social media and stop following. It meant taking a moment to really be with my own emotions about where I was and how uncomfortable it is to be in an ICU, to watch the person that you love laying there, unable to really fully communicate. And so many things went through my head, and so many emotions. And I remember, after I left there, walking in to my parents' home, and I saw my dad, and I let go, and I allowed myself to just fall into his arms, and I sobbed. I just fell apart. And typically I wouldn't normally do that. I'd hold myself so other people could fall apart. I'd hold myself so I wouldn't want to make them uncomfortable with my big feelings, because that was how I lived my life for so long. My feelings were so big and it made people uncomfortable. But I listened to what God said, and I allowed myself to be. And that's where I was in that moment. I was in a moment of, this has to come out of me, because I am in a pool of deep emotion, of fear, of sadness, of not understanding what the next step was. And so it was a surrender. It was a state of surrender. So in these moments of overwhelm, of tragedy, we might tend to shrink back. We might tend to go to that space of, this action's not enough. My prayer's not enough. This donation's not enough. This, I don't know what to do. And we might even shrink into, I know we all do this. I know I've done it, where we're like, well, what can I do? We might reach out to a person and say, just tell me what I can do for you. Do you want me to come over? Do you want me to make a meal? And they're not able to communicate it because they're in the sea of emotions, right? And when people fall apart, they don't answer questions well. Right? We can't answer our questions coming at us because we can't process what's happening in our bodies. We can't even say, yes, please make me a meal. Yes, please. And we might say, no, don't come. No, don't come over. Leave me, don't make a meal. I don't want to put anybody out. And in that moment, we're saying no to God, because God is love, right? And he's the why people are doing the things they're doing. They're calling us, they're giving the donations, they're showing up. And so in this place where we need to heal, our world needs to heal, it's the remembrance of our humanity, our truth, that we're all broken people. We all need a hand from time to time. We're not supposed to hold it all together. Not supposed to be in our business and being like powering through and being like, yeah, I've got it all together. Look at me. Look at this. It's just not real. It's not real. We've learned to be a version of ourselves that looks good to the outside world. It's what we are shown. It's what we're taught. So what if we start undoing that? What if this is the moment to be in our true soul authority, to be in our absolute 100% truth, that we don't do that. We don't bypass where we are. We allow ourselves to be. And if that means uncomfortable, if that means we have to take time away from being present, if that means that we take a break for safety's sake, then that's the most amazing thing that we can do. And then maybe we regroup and we come back in, and that's how I'm feeling right now, like coming back in and just being like absolutely real with, I'm not going to make this some fancy launch that I'm in, which I am in a launch of the Soul Authority program, but I'm going to be where I'm at, which is a mess. And that's not going to change my outcome. It's not going to change how people are signing up, because we've been taught by these outside influences that in order to be in business, in order to launch a new product, we have to have all the bells and whistles. We have to speak into the pain points. We got to do these things in order to get a reaction. And that's how people show up. And I'm just going to say bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on it, because it doesn't work. It's not real. What's real is when we're human. What's real is when we are absolutely truthful. And if we've learned from the outside world how to be a different version of us, then we're not in our soul authority. So I've been doing this work for so long. My whole life I've been this deep healer and deep feeler, connected to spirit. You want to call that mediumship, whatever we want to call it. You can put a lot of labels to it. God has spoken to me in my heart. I communicate with angels. I see Jesus. I mean, this is just my norm. And what I know to be true is everyone has pain. Everyone that I've gotten the privilege to work with, whether they are a big business owner and they have a gazillion followers and they're crushing it in their work, or they're trying to step into their healing work. They have very similar things going on. They have a separation to their soul truth. And that's not because they wanted it that way. It's not because they set out to deny who they are. It's that they were taught at a very young age. They came in to this world and were taught to abandon who they are in order to meet the needs of the people they live with, to the people that they went to school with, in order to receive some form of love that they were missing in their lives. So they learned to adjust in order to meet others, and they left who they really are behind. And so throughout my life, throughout this journey of doing this work, I have guided people back into who they are with a couple of really cool things. And my angels taught me how to do this. And this is the work that I've been doing this past week. The past 10 days, I'm sorry. It's been 2 stupid weeks. It's been 2 stupid weeks of this, which is the soul color. If you haven't heard my meditations before, if you haven't heard me talk about core color, soul color, this is one of the number one things that I start to teach people how to work with and how to expand their soul color. And it sounds easy, but trust me, when you have lived on the outside of who you are for so long, most women that come in, they're like, I don't know, what color do you see? I think I'm this. They aren't positive on their soul color. So we have to go through and we have to do some cleansing and some purifying and some healing. And that looks like meditations. That looks like gentle coming into the heart, teaching them how to stay in their body and not exit their body. This is the same experience that I teach inside of my mediumship course, because what happens for women who are healers and have these heightened sensitivities is they are able to read the room. They're able to read the energy, to sense the world around them in such a profound way. And what they don't know is they're exiting their body in order to get this information. And at one time, it was very necessary in their lives. At one time, it was completely necessary for their safety to do that. And now, when they get to their adult version and they're still doing it, they're depleted. So it looks like, okay, I have got the ability to see spirit, but I've turned off I don't want to see it. That most women are like, no, I don't want to see scary stuff. I don't see it. But they learn to exit through their third eye in order to see energy, sense it around other people, to notice if they're safe. Or they go through their gut. This is the next common place, because this is your truth between the solar plexus and the sacral. This is where you are creative. It's where you get your intuition. It's where the wisdom of God comes in. But because you are a deep empathic feeler, and your knowing is there, you exit to see if somebody else believes what you actually know. So you exit through the gut, and then you start to deny what you actually know to be true to meet where they are, because they're the authority figure and you aren't. Again, like it was needed as a child, it was needed in your life in order to do that, to keep yourself safe. Maybe, probably, I don't know. But here and now, as the adult, it's fucking you up. It's causing you pain. It's causing you suffering. It's having you be exhausted all the time because you're trying to read and manage, and you come back into your body with other people's energy, and then you wonder, where am I? Why am I sensing this? Why do I feel this way? And then you're trying to make sense out of this energy, and it's just a loop, a loop, a loop. So we go through the experience of understanding the duality of the senses, which again, I do teach inside of my mediumship course. If that interests you, I'll send you the link. It's amazing. Or we come into this soul authority program, which is you need to learn first who you are. And we do this, we learn our senses. We learn, how am I using my abilities in the world, and how can I attune them to my frequency so I'm not leaking out all over the place. And then what happens then, all of a sudden, once you learn how to be in your body and we start to purify, we work on soul fragments. Soul fragments are the part of your soul that broke off during that really difficult time, during that trauma, during that pain, during that experience that was too big for you to process. And we start to line them up. We have the angels help us. I have this whole system. It's absolutely amazing. And it's so easy to do because you aren't in charge. That's the next point, is when we are constantly in charge and thinking and maneuvering in our brain, our body can't do the work to be in alignment. Our nervous system is haywired. We are constantly in fight or flight. This is really big work, this soul authority program. It's the place where you actually start to claim back the parts of you that have been missing, the parts that you've been longing for, the part of you that you know that you are, and you stop forcing and you are actually being. So again, like, this is the work that I've been doing this season. It's something I typically practice anyways, but it's been daily. It's been getting in the tub, calling in my energy, dialing my energy centers in, stacking my senses. It's been slowing down. It's been eating slow. It's been creating a little dance party with new music that helps me to flow, that matches the rhythm, the frequency of my soul, so that I may move through the most uncomfortable, deeply painful, emotional healings that are happening during this time. And it's not always easy, but it's always worth it. One of my dear friends, she always she calls me, we always call each other when we're like falling apart, and just, you need someone to witness your deep cry, right? Like, sometimes you do. Sometimes it's good to do it by yourself, but other times you just want a friend to do it with. And this particular friend, she called me and she's falling apart, and she's like, I know I'm going to feel so good on the other side of it, but right now it just sucks. So it's our resistance to it. Like, we don't always want to do it. We don't always want to fall apart. We don't always want to be that vulnerable, that, transparent, like thinking everybody can see our pain. But when we are, what happens is magic. And when you learn to be in your soul authority and you're running a business, that transparency gets to be your natural, normal state and not uncomfortable. It gets to be the place where you talk to your clients with no holding back, where you are able to lead them with all of the bounty that God has placed within you, with all of the teachings. And you get to also share that in your words, in your writing, in your emails. But when we hold back, when we're learning as a child that those parts aren't safe to be exposed, as an adult, it's the missing piece. It's the missing connection to the women that are meant to work with you. So it's not that there's something wrong with you. It's not that your marketing is off. It's not that you aren't getting it right. It's not that, you need to do something other than just get in your soul authority. That's it. Once you do that, it's your nervous system that starts to calm down, and you start to become a flower, right? Because it's like you're blossoming. Now you're drinking the nutrients from Mother Earth, and you're receiving the bounty of God, and now you can flourish. Now you can be like, oh, great, this is so easy. So I just want to share a little bit about the process of Soul Authority for me, this program, and how it came to be. So again, like I do this work privately. I have we'll call, it's not really coaching, but it's more advisory, God advisory. And in this format, I work with women one-on-one, and we do these beautiful calls. There's 6 90-minute calls, and we have a connection. We have a private Voxer back and forth in between our calls, and there's also 2 30-minute follow-up calls. So really, it depending on the person and depending on where they are, it's a lot of deep soul work together. So when I first come in with a private client, we connect on a call, we talk about her goals, and then we set our times. And when I say goodbye to her, and then we're waiting before our first call, that's when I'm doing the deep work. I'm getting into meditation. I'm leaning in with my angels and guides, and I am like leaning in fully with her soul so that I can guide her in the highest and best way, in the way that God is saying, okay, here's her goals, here's my goals. Let's meet them here. So it's pretty remarkable. And again, like I've been running that for about 10 years now, 9-10 years. And I've decided, this year I want to offer it as a group. And the reason I want to do this as a group is, when this is God showing me, like, here's where I want you to go next. Not everybody wants to do a one-on-one intimate experience, nor maybe can they afford it. Like maybe it's just not in their wheelhouse. And when we can come into community, we can learn and grow in ways that are far beyond our own understanding, because God brings us together. Like every group reading that I do, God brings the group together, and there's like this amazing connection and healing that happens within the group. So the same thing is like that for any program I lead. And I've been part of other people's programs, and it's the same thing. Like you make these connections with people that you would have never thought you would never have met if you hadn't have said yes. So I'm a yes, God, yes girl. Like, yeah, you show me, it's in front of me. I feel in my body. I'm a yes. So Soul Authority program is 6 90-minute calls in a group setting with a private Facebook group. And this is something I had walked away from for a while, and I'm coming back to these Facebook groups. And the reason I'm doing it on Facebook this time is I want this community to be deep and rich, and I want it to grow. So we're going to do these the Soul Authority program. They're going to be during the 4 seasons of the year. And the community, as it grows, will have monthly calls. And this will be the continuum, almost like a membership, but not a membership. So you get it you get this connection in your, when you first buy the program. This is how I'm launching it in 2025, that when you join the program, you get the connection into this community as a bonus, as that yummy extra that helps you to stay fully embodied in these teachings, and then keep continuing growing with the community, connecting with women, and really expanding in your own truth. So I'm really excited about that, because it's not something that I've done before. And it's like, it's the thing that I want. It's the thing that God is showing me is going to be so juicy and so yummy in like growing my own truth and my own energy, and having a big impact helping women to really be in their authority. And again, we're going to be doing guided meditations and what I do best, which is I channel. When I'm sitting with someone, I'm able to channel exactly what they need, bringing in that divine energy, bringing in loved ones, helping them to unpack the trauma and the pain so they can be more fully in their authority. Now, it's not a one and done. So that's why this community is ongoing, because we're multi-layered. There's not one thing that separated you from your authority. There's a lot there. It's the truth. And it's not ending. So as I channel, and I've read all these souls throughout my life, what I know is when we go to heaven, we continue to heal from the point that we left this life. And when we come into this life, our soul's on a journey to continue to heal what we hadn't healed previously. So if we are willing to do the work, our soul can expand here in this lifetime. We can bring heaven to earth to expand in real time and do what we really came here to do fully, so that when we do go to heaven, there is a new level. There's a new understanding. There's another, a clearer guidance, and we're closer to God. That's the truth. We've come here to be close to God. We've come here to heal our separation from love. And this is the journey, is being in our soul authority. This is not about being selfish. Please understand, when I talk about soul authority, I am not talking about identifying as a all me, I. This is about you and God, and God speaking through you to help and serve others in the format that makes sense in your body. We're all here to do work, and we're all here to serve, whether it's one person or many. And wherever that lands for you, I'd love to know. So I'm going to leave the link for the Soul Authority program in the show notes so that you have easy access. If you have questions, I'd love for you to leave me a comment below, to email me at jeannie@jeanniestreet.com, to head on over to my Instagram and send me a DM. I want to have further conversations with you about your soul authority. I want to help you to be in that best version of you during any season of your life. And if it's a season like I'm in where it's difficult and hard, especially then, because that's when it's most important, so that you can hold yourself and know how to move without feeling like you're falling apart. I hope this serves you and you take something away. I'd love to know what you're taking away. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate you leaving me a review, and I hope you have a blessed day. Know that you are so loved, incredibly loved. God bless you.